Chris is director of the Council for Arab-British Understanding. Chris, and I was just asking you, the cancellation of Mark Ruffalo speaking at this lawyers' event, there was an explanation given. It was because of his political views. Do you think it could be the thin end of the wedge? Might there be lots more speakers being cancelled without us finding out it's because of their political stance?
I know that to be the case. We see that at universities, at other events, at conferences. I was actually at a conference at Cambridge on the freedom of expression in the academic space only last week. And it is a serious concern. It's not always that they direct it towards those with what are seen as pro-Palestinian views, but there are institutions that are just nervous to have any debate or discussion about this conflict because it's seen as sensitive, as arousing emotions, and it gets people on both sides of this debate, very exercised. But there are actually state-led drives in various countries to stop protests, for example, on behalf of Palestinian rights, to stop various individuals, some high profile, from speaking out, and to make it hard to raise the very serious issues of what's going on, to police the sort of language that is being used to describe the atrocities, and that is a term I think that should be used in terms of what Israel is doing to the Palestinians in Gaza.
If we look at the most prominent people on social media talking about this, now Motaz Azaza has had one of his social media accounts cancelled. He's got millions of followers. As I understand, there was no explanation offered as to why the account was suspended. Why are social media giants getting involved on this level?
A number of reasons. Israel has a very active campaign to engage with the social media giants. It's made representations to Facebook and others to try to get such accounts suspended like this. There are a lot of Palestinians and supporters of Palestinians who say that they have been shadow banned, that their posts don't get the same amount of engagements, the same amount of hits and retweets and reposts that they would on other issues. So there is frankly, an information war that goes out across social media, played across there in terms of also spreading huge amounts of disinformation, the use of bots, trolls, etc., to try to clog up that information space, to basically make the debate so absurd and over the top that nobody wants to get involved in it. Nobody wants to get, stuck in a situation where in the online space you frequently will get attacked, you will get abused, perhaps that is happening, and often people refer to, for example, Twitter or what's now called X as a sewer in terms of the way in which people are treated on it, and that is very much the case in this conflict.
Now, Chris, I also understand Instagram have just rather surreptitiously, I say surreptitiously because they didn't notify their users, I believe, they've opted people out of receiving news stories to their feed. A lot of people weren't aware of this. Now, the issue here is that the more people engage with a certain type of story, the algorithm feeds them more of what they engage with. So this is going to massively reduce awareness of events. It's not just events in Gaza, but including awareness of Gaza.
Of course, and these algorithms, of course, they're not open source. They're not ones that we can all examine and buy into. And there are so many companies the world over, let's face it, who would love to know how Facebook's algorithms all work and other major social media companies. And if they can tweak the algorithms so that you don't get so much information about what's going on in Gaza, then, of course, that suits the strongest player in this conflict, Israel. If nobody's talking about what's going on, then that allows Israel to prosecute what it is doing without any sense that the world will hold it to account. We have to understand that today's world, social media is where so many people get their news stories, where they get their information from. And if these commercial companies have a vested interest, maybe even a commercial interest, in trying to diminish these sorts of stories, then that's very worrying for our democratic practice, for freedom of expression, but also for getting the sane and sensible policy to deal with these atrocities.
Chris, great to speak to you. Chris Doyle, my guest, Director of the Council for Arab-British Understanding.
Thank you very much.